Hey guys, today I want to chat about wages. So, what is wages? Why do we get paid what we get paid? And how do we increase our wages? Not from a perspective of the individual, so how I individually earn more wage, but how do we increase the wages of everybody in an entire economy? Because at the end of the day, in politics, what we really care about is the health of our economy and everybody else as a whole. We care about everybody. So maybe another day I can get more into finance and individual investing and things of that nature that we could do to individually help our assets grow and things of that nature. But for now, let's talk about wage. So, what is wage? Wage is human capital. So, when you buy something, when you buy, let's say, just anything in general, a phone, when you buy any kind of good or service. Right, sorry about that. Where was I? Right, so when you buy anything like a product, whether it be a good or a service being anything like cutting your hair or a good such as any form of material, you pay a certain amount for it. And that amount is generally paid for by a supply and demand. So how much supply versus how much demand. So let's just say, let's talk about water. Now, water is abundant in most countries, so people wouldn't exactly pay much for it. That's why a bottle of water is a lot cheaper than, let's say, a bottle of alcohol. Now, in terms of wages, a general labor is very easy to come by. An unskilled laborer would not cost that much since it doesn't take much to become an unskilled laborer. And we have plenty of them. We have the current unskilled laborers of Trinidad and Tobago, and now the Venezuelans that have come across the Trinidad and Tobago, as well as I believe in certain circumstances we've had Chinese workers come across and work in Trinidad and Tobago. But these are generally unskilled laborers, and they're not paid that much. And then we have skilled labor, which is, let's say, like a doctor. A doctor will study for X amount of years, let's say 5 or 6 years, and get their degree. And so will a lawyer, and these people will get paid a lot more. But it's all based on supply and demand. If everybody was a doctor or lawyer, we wouldn't pay them much. But not everybody will become a doctor or lawyer because it takes a lot of years of education and research, and even on top of that, you still have to be good at your job, and things of that nature. So, how do we increase the wages of everybody? Well, it's also based on supply and demand. If you want to truly increase the wage of everybody, you need more demand. You need a lot more demand. And what is demand? Demand is jobs. We need a ton of jobs where the employers are competing for employees. The service that an employee offers is what an employer purchases. When somebody builds your website, the employer owns the website design company. They have the image, they have the management of the website design company, but he pays the employee for their time, their services, and the employee gets his wage, and the employer gets the product, which is the service of building the websites, in which the employer then sells to whoever needs it. So if you really and truly wanted to raise the wage of any Trinidadian, you need to you need to create more jobs. Now, there are other ways that you can raise the wage, but these are not so good long term, or they have their own drawbacks. And I think it's very important that we talked about it. Now, another way to raise the wage is to restrict labor. So, if we have 100 doctors, but only one is allowed to work, and the 99 cannot work. The one doctor that is allowed to work will get paid immensely, and the nine will obviously not receive any wage. Now, this is the strategy of the unions. What they do is they restrict the labor so that the wages increase, and then they send their workers out to work. So the wages are artificially higher, but they're not truly higher. Other instances of this of artificial manipulation of the wage is the Minimum Wage Act. Now in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a minimum wage of 15 TT dollars, or 3 Canadian. And I don't think many people are getting paid that currently, so I don't think our Minimum Wage Act is doing anything. And that's, in my opinion, a good thing. Because what happens when you artificially increase the minimum wage is you don't actually increase the wages of persons. The wages of persons are still based on the supply and demand. Well, if we could, then I would just say, why not increase the minimum wage to $100,000? Why not just have everybody get paid $100,000? Because the wage that you get paid is not necessarily based on what you would, let's say, like, but based on what it's worth, and what it's worth is based on what the public will pay for it. I'm not going to pay $100,000 for KFC, so I can't pay a KFC worker $100,000 to produce KFC. I'm willing to pay a lot less, and so the demand for the product is going to tell you on how much it'll get paid. So we can artificially increase our minimum wage, let's say, to Canada's standard, which is 75 TT an hour. But the problem is the people of Trinidad will not pay 75 TT an hour worth of KFC, and they will not pay 75 TT an hour worth of service. And so what will ultimately happen is all these jobs that we deem now must pay $75 an hour will close, and they won't be available. And the super elite businesses that are making tons of money and huge profits, they will remain open. But the real losers are the mom and pop shops who employ the person here and there who, are just trying to make by, or the new entrepreneurs who are trying to push a new business or try something new. They now have to fork out a lot more money. And when you do this destroys our economy. So hopefully through this discussion, as we can understand the policies based around the health of the economy and how to think about wages. Anyway, thanks.